Is supported by San Juan Health Partners Urology, providing a wide range of personalized services for the whole family, including children. Our caring professionals are dedicated to helping meet your urology health needs with skill, experience, and service you need. For a complete listing of our services and to learn more, visit sanjuanhealthpartners.com or call 505-609-6300. San Juan Health Partners Urology, a division of San Juan Regional Medical Center. Minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Wednesday morning, August 29th. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin, and you're listening to KSJE 90.9 FM. And good morning from KSJE's Visual Radio Studio. We welcome our viewers who are watching us on KSJE's Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Coming up in just a moment, my guest from the Farmington Municipal School District, Superintendent Dr. Eugene Schmidt, will be here. Also, we have in the studio with us Nate Pierantoni. He is the Assistant Director of Performance and Accountability for Farmington Schools. So we'll be talking with both of these gentlemen in just a moment. Also want to remind you coming up later on this hour that we'll take our weekly trip to the Encouragement Lab with Dr. Mike Hadabaugh. He's talking as well about communication, of course, and we'll be able to actually see the Encouragement Lab today as we join Dr. Hadabaugh on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. So we hope you'll join us for that. Roving with the Arts coming up today at 9 a.m. And today, Mick Hess is playing for us Bruckner's Mass in E minor. You'll hear that as well as some arts news passing along at 9 a.m. And don't forget about our local regional author program Right on Four Corners today at 10:30 right here on KSJE. And our guest on that program this morning is Catalina Clausen, and she is the author of the books Diamonds at Dusk and Diamonds at Dawn. You'll hear all that this morning on KSJE. We want to remind you can always find out about our programming schedule by going to our website at ksje.com. That's also where you'll find our regional events calendar, and there are a couple of events I want to pass along, including the Listening Beyond the Music appreciation class here at San Juan College about the San Juan Symphony. That starts this weekend on Saturday, September 1st, talking about all the music being performed by the San Juan Symphony this season in concert. There's also a Harvest Wine Festival at Balloon Fiesta Park this weekend in Albuquerque, and Northern Edge Casino has a couple of events this weekend, including a World Fighting Championship on September 1st, and there's a Clint Black concert at Northern Edge Casino this weekend as well. By the way, Tota Festival happening at the Farmington Museum Labor Day weekend as well. Well, let me turn to my guests who are here in the studio with us this morning. Dr. Eugene Schmidt is back with me from the Farmington Municipal Schools. Superintendent Schmidt, good morning.
Scott, it is delightful to be here, and I want to say that to be on the visual side will be adding extra interest to your broadcast. So
they will.
Done.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for being here, and we appreciate you saying that and trying out all of our new technology, and so far so good. So thank you for your indulgence with that as things get started today. Also joining us here in the studio, as I mentioned, is Nate Pierantoni. He is the Assistant Director of Performance and Accountability for Farmington Schools. Mr. Pierantoni, welcome to you.
Thanks, Scott. It's great to be here again.
Good to have you as well back with us. And so, Dr. Schmidt, let's get started by talking a bit about the way some of your students get involved in the community. You've compiled a little list for me here about their community service, which is pretty impressive because you don't always think about high schoolers doing a lot, or young people in general doing a lot in the community.
Yes, it truly is amazing. And this reflective moment, Scott, is caused by the Special Olympics. It was just featured as a Four Corners gift to exceptional needs kids this past weekend. And as I'm walking and talking with the different groups at the Special Olympics, for which Kiwanis and Rotary are very actively involved, I got to noticing just how many kids, and by kids we're talking middle and high school kids, that are giving back to the community through service, volunteering, and I just thought, wow, what a wonderful way to share with our community how much our children give back to the communities and the different kinds of things that they do. So with Nate's help, I want to just celebrate some of those different kinds of things. And as an example, just in looking at Special Olympics, how many different groups from both Farmington High and PV were involved. To give you an idea, the softball teams ran the Special Olympics softball tournament.
Okay.
A lot of kids who were involved in our golf program, the PV golf kids, boys and girls, ran the Special Olympics golf tournament. We had both the Rotary Interact and the Kiwanis Key Club students were involved in a variety of games in the main arcade area. So when special needs students weren't playing softball, swimming, golfing, they could come and just be entertained through hoop shoots or different kinds of events. But really, it just caused me to think, I bet our community has no idea how much kids do to give back. And certainly Nate would join, because in your years as middle school principal.
Both as middle school principal and as an administrator at Farmington High, I have to say some of the proudest moments I had were being able to see our students grow their own sense of pride and efficacy in our community when they were able to sort of take what we've taught them and extend it out into something that mattered to them, was relevant, was meaningful. This is really part of the goal of all of our work, is that our kids turn it around and use it for good. So these are the times I look back at with the most fondness.
So move beyond even just this Special Olympics weekend. And Nate, I know that a lot of your kids were involved in Thanksgiving things or Christmas things. And so perhaps you can maybe visualize some of those for us.
Absolutely. I was always proud of our fine arts departments. We had great directors for both band and orchestra, super generous with their time and their kids' time, going out into the community to kind of excite the public around, donation of gifts for the holidays. I've seen teams work at food banks and working to prepare meals, helping people to be able to celebrate the holidays. These are just a few examples. National Junior Honor Society, constantly working in the community, year-round, taking advantage of any opportunity to really put our kids out there and give them a voice and a purpose. This is part of what I'm proud of that we do.
Yes, and so it's important, Scott, that it is just not one day. It is really the whole year round. I've seen ROTC kids and band kids and other groups for Toys for Tots, and there's a Coats for Kids kinds of thing. I know that there's continuous food drives throughout the school year. So it's just an opportunity for our community to say, you know what, we're pretty darn proud of the kids we have, because they understand that as generous as our community is to our students are trying to take that work, that empathy back into the community to give back for the appreciation that they have for the gifts that they have.
Sure. Well, and it brings up another conversation about the education in our schools and in the school districts. It's not just Farmington schools, I know, that have students that are giving back to their communities, but it's about that total educational process for these students. It's not just learning the 3 R's and learning out of the books, but also community service and giving back and being a volunteer and doing all those things that hopefully make all of us a better, productive citizen.
So I appreciate that thought, because really, when you look at raising the whole child by a whole community, there is that belief that we give back unselfishly. So I'm proud of our kids, and I say keep it up.
Very good. Well, congratulations, and those are great stories to share, and great ways that students are volunteering and being a force for good in our community. So it's good to hear those stories.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be a theme for some future event. I might bring about 7 of these kids in to talk about things that they do.
I don't know if I have enough cameras for 7 kids, but we'll work on it, Dr. Schmidt, if we want to make it possible. So
wonderful.
Thank you very much. I also want to ask you a little bit about the report card that all the school districts received from the park assessments and the recent checks from the state education department. And so tell us how Farmington schools are doing. It's been one of the top performing districts in the state.
Yes, and I would say that Farmington continues to hold that position when The proficiencies for reading and math were announced about a month ago. Farmington, as a school district, one of the largest 10 districts in the state, was outperforming the rest in English reading, and I believe we were third in math. So as you look across the state, 10 largest districts, Farmington continues to significantly outperform our peers. That translates into school report card grades, and
right.
Mr. Pierantoni is here to help me talk through that. But I will say that one of the lessons that we've learned, we've maintained our tradition of at least 10 or more of our schools have an A or B grade, and sometimes they kind of sort during the middle of the transition. A school that maybe got a B got an A got a B, but the tradition of 10 of our 19 schools got an A or a B, and as Nate will share, 2 of our schools got Ds this year for the first time, and so we will be watching that with curiosity as we try to understand what may have caused a school to drop down to a C or a D. So Nate, you're welcome to join.
Let me ask you, or have you chime in a little bit about these numbers now that falls to you and your staff, I guess, to interpret those and what they mean, right?
Sure. And so I'll just start by saying we really believe ourselves to be an evidence-based organization. And so we're always excited when new information comes out. We work on this theory that if we use the information to identify where we can put our energy, then we will improve our system as a whole. So the grades came out a couple of weeks back, and like Dr. Schmidt said, 10 of our schools are at A's and B's. What's interesting is that the team that I'm on was able to look a lot more deeply into the information with this idea that if we can figure out where the bright spots are, then it's our job to really leverage those successes across the district so that they reach every one of our students. Likewise, when we see opportunities, it's our job to be reflective and dig in a little more deeply to figure out maybe what did we miss last year, what other data points do we need to be considering as we work to kind of chip away at that deficit and move it into something that we would identify as a success.
Gotcha. And so, and I think we talked a little bit this before we came on the air this morning, the data that you're looking at is coming from the park assessments that we've certainly heard a lot about, but it's also coming from other areas too, right, that you can compare and contrast, I suppose.
Absolutely. We've done work really since last year. I've been able to look more closely. Like Dr. Schmidt said, student volunteerism would be a data point that we use to determine whether or not we're meeting our district mission of success for every student every day. So park data does make up roughly a half to 2/3 of the school grade report card, but our job is to triangulate not only the park data, but also look at our science performance. We look at our early elementary reading performance. We look at other indicators, things like enrollment, things like behavioral data, attendance data, parent involvement data. We look at student survey data. Our team, our instructional focus team, has really sat down and tried to combine and synthesize all of this information so that we can do our job most effectively of ensuring that we put our energy into supporting schools targeted where they need it so that they can improve. Because we do have a strong belief that all of our schools will improve if we are working as a system.
And so for parents who are listening this morning, help explain to them maybe why this is so important for their child, why their child's educational advancement maybe gets boiled down to some data points that you're looking at, or their whole class or peers.
I'd love to. I'm a parent as well. I've got a couple of kids in this district, and as much as I value when my child comes home feeling happy and fulfilled, I also know that when my daughters graduate, I want them to be prepared for whatever future they have envisioned for themselves. So we have in our state a assessment that is known to be rigorous, and as our governor has stated, it's helped us to really close the honesty gap. When you earn a diploma and when you pass these assessments in our state, it truly means you are prepared for career, college, and the future. So as a parent, I want the community to really understand that when we talk about data, we're not measuring deficiencies. We are using it as a way to ensure that we have equitable support for every kid in our district, because we do expect and believe that if we do our jobs well, every kid should have equal opportunity for their own future.
And so, Scott, if I can help answer that question as well, is that every student, 3rd grade through 11th, should have received a written report about the status or progress that their children are making on the PARCC exam. And we ask them to go back, pull that out, take it to their teacher or their principal and say, help me to understand how I can make a difference in the life of my child at home by engaging in that learning as well. So pull that piece of paper out, and I would say I'd even go further. Now that the school is underway, log on to PowerSchool from time to time to see how the child is doing, that your student is doing, keeping up with the grades of the school year.
Sure. And some of these things, Dr. Schmidt, of these instructional policies and teaching strategies that you're introducing to the schools, it certainly is a long-term process, right? And I think folks want immediate results and want to see something different in a month or 2 months or at the end of the school year. And we're talking, some of these things take a while to integrate into the school, to integrate into your teaching styles and things like that. Is that kind of what we're seeing too in some of these results?
Yeah, I actually appreciate that comment, and because learning is a spiral, and every year we have benchmarks, as Mr. Pierantoni shared, become more rigorous and more demanding. And so we would want parents to go back and be reflective of the current status, because our mission is to grow every kid a year or more in the learning that takes place during that year. And a lot of that could be gleaned from what is the current status of my student and what part can I play to help that teacher navigate that next year with my child.
Gotcha. And Mr. Pierantoni, when you look at the data and shows a school that fell backwards or maybe went a little bit less than what you were hoping that they would do, is it easy to kind of find where the problem is, or does it still take a little bit of digging through some of those data points to find out what went wrong, I suppose?
So every school is different, but some of the trends that we've seen are that when we have a school that is not making progress at the rate we'd expected, it does come back to instruction. It comes back to, how are they performing in math and reading? And so we know that the biggest driver in student success comes down to the quality of instruction in the classroom. So one of the ways that we've been able to really focus on that area as a district is through a broad initiative that's happening this year, where our curriculum department leaders have built up professional development that should reach every teacher in our district. That's one thing that we are able to say, because when we look at performance, we do break it down to the individual student level, which helps us to see trends across grade levels and in buildings. And truly the commonality between schools that have perhaps not progressed as quickly as we would have liked is that there is something going on instructionally that we want to just fine-tune, because we believe if we do that, we'll see the impact.
Sure.
To reinforce that, central office really has a wide variety of very talented coaches or facilitators that are available to support teachers in their classrooms. And so we are frequently reminding our staff, if you think you need a skill builder, we can send a coach to help you do that, or mentor or model the kinds of teaching. And Scott, that's an important question, because I want to say something in the neighborhood of 19 or more of our staff are alternative licensure. And so we'd love to talk about how the college is a partner with the district on a number of different things as part of our morning show. But do know that when people come in from a second career without the teaching pedagogy, these coaches are important. Nate's world, that he provides data for them to understand the effectiveness of their own teaching, become really important. And so we appreciate that there's a data analysis, because his job is new. We didn't have a Nate in the past. And so we're very excited about the role that he is playing, but also about the fact that provides immediate support for teachers in the classroom who may or may not be making the kinds of gains that the teacher across the hall is making.
Right, sure. And with that too, you've got students that are coming to school, not going to school, moving out of the district, moving into the district, and it's a constant moving target too. You don't have the same test group, I guess, that you're looking at from year to year, because then your third graders are now fourth graders, and you have a whole new set of third graders that are being measured on third grade learning.
Yes, and we see that in some of the data trends we're just beginning to understand. And we can talk about school enrollment, but something in the neighborhood of 20% of our kids are mobile,
right,
transient. And
that's in the county, right?
That's in the county. And when you look at 11,000 kids, 20% of 11,000, it's a lot of movement afoot. And if you are relocating schools, changing districts, you do come in with different deficits in your learning that may or may not impact your success. And so it's important that we figure out ways to assess students when they arrive and then build them from that point.
Very good. I do want to ask you a little bit about enrollment, but we'll do that when we come back from a break here. So we will take a short break. My guest this morning from the Farmington Municipal School District here on KSJE. Back with more in just a moment. The time right now is coming up on 8:33. This program on KSJE is supported by Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation, providing a competent, innovative, and caring team of professionals to serve wealth management, trust administration, employee benefit plans, retirement planning, and estate settlement needs. Find out more about Citizens Trust and Investment Corporation at 505-599-8800.